slip away like shares in a fading day. Trading hours bleed to black, lost bids I can't take back. Fingers tapping waiting screens, footsteps chasing broken dreams. You drain my equity slow, left me holding what I don't know. Don't let me liquidate, don't mark me to the floor. Pull me from the margin's edge before I'm worth no more. Hold me through the void out nights before the markets close. Don't let me fade like faded charts when no one dares to go. I saw the green turn red, profits lost in thin air spreads. No stop loss saved my heart, just crashes tearing us apart. No bids left on this trade, no volume in the shade, just echoes in the ticker tape of memories I can't escape. Don't sell me short.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Monday. It is a beautiful Monday, August the 4th. I'm going to go with today. I believe it is the 4th. Folks, hope you had a good one. Hope you had an absolutely phenomenal weekend. I don't know where in the world you live. That's a lie. I do track all of you feverishly. A little bit of voyeurism, but I assume most of you had as amazing weather as I did this past weekend. It was warm. It was sunny. No rain. It was a great time to be outside. I feel supercharged with the amount of vitamin D that is currently coursing through my veins. So I hope you guys got some as well. Got a little bit of time to, I suppose, relax, recharge. Hopefully you were off the screens and, I don't know, touched some grass, enjoyed the world around you. I hope you got to enjoy all of that, and we're ready to hit it again here today. So good morning, good morning, good morning. A lot of you are trickling in. I'm excited for this week. I honestly have a really good feeling about today. I don't know why. I shouldn't have as good of a feeling about today as I currently do, but just something about it. I feel like I'm going to catch a lucky streak. I really can't put my finger on why I'm so optimistic about today. Maybe it's just the fact that it's a whole new week, a whole new month, new month, new me. Maybe I'll be disciplined. Maybe Skynet will actually not go completely rogue. You never know. You never know. You never know. You never know. But just something about it. I can't explain it. It's an uncanny feeling, but I just think it's going to go my way today. I really, really do. I'm putting it out into the universe. And we're going to see if the universe is going to respond, but I'm excited about it. So we're going to, actually, we have some important news to go over. So We have some larger scale news to get over in terms of like the trade war and what's happening with the Bureau of Labor statistics. Then we have some individual equity news. We're going to talk about seasonality and specifically what we have this week. And then I also want to show you some interesting data that I actually found over the weekend about how much last week the bulls kind of gave up. So for quite a while, June and July, the bulls were absolutely in control. And for whatever reason, a lot of the people on that particular side of the boat, on that particular bet, decided to lock in last week. So I want to show you some interesting data because there's been a clear shift. Late June, all of July, bulls were dominant. Now things are they're changing, and that's what I want to show you. So a lot to get into before the casino officially opens on the day. So let me get you guys ready. Stock futures jump as Wall Street tries to recover from post-jobs report sell-off. So if you missed it on Friday, around 8:30 in the morning, we got a really interesting update. Once again, this was on Friday, and the way this works is the first Friday of a new month, you get the job numbers for the last month. And we got it, and it was a miss, but it wasn't that big of a deal. The big issue is you also get revisions for really what's happening. You get like a first revision, second revision. So we got numbers from May and June as well as they keep doing this revision, and they revised it down by a lot. As in the initial numbers that we got were wrong cumulatively between those 2 points or between those 2 months by over 250,000 jobs, actually specifically 258,000 jobs that they thought were there were actually not there. And this is a big deal in terms of monetary policy because remember, the Fed is going to cut the Fed fund rate in one of two events. We are like sustainably below 2% inflation and we're holding there. And we have a lot of data that's like, yep, 2%, 2%, 2%. Great, the Fed would cut them. And the other reason they would cut is if all of a sudden the labor market gets really weak, as in maybe there's over 250,000 jobs that we thought we had, but we actually don't have. So if anything, the bad jobs number is actually increasing the likelihood of a Fed rate cut. So with all of that in mind, there's a couple things we have to get into because this is really interesting. So when all these numbers came out on Friday, the president was not happy. In my opinion, today's job numbers were rigged in order to make the Republicans and me look bad, just like when they had 3 great days around the 2024 presidential election, and then those numbers were quote-unquote taken away on November 15th, right after the election. When the job numbers were massively revised downward, making a correction of over 818,000 jobs, a total scam. Jerome Powell is no better, but the good news is our country is doing great. Well, no, the job numbers are awful, and I don't know. This kind of like, I thought about this a lot over the weekend. I have no evidence that they are rigged. Obviously, the president is saying they're rigged, and people who are just like devout Trump supporters are just going to assume that he's real, like this is accurate. I do not have evidence that they are rigged or are not rigged. But what I can tell you is from doing this now for years with all of you, these numbers are commonly wrong. So whether rigged or not, the fact that they're just always so far off, something is going on. Like it does not make sense. But put a pin in that for 1 second because it was in Trump's eyes so rigged that he actually then fired the person running the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I was just informed that our country's job numbers are being produced by a Biden appointee, the Commissioner of Labor Statistics, who faked the job numbers before the election to try to boost Kamala's chances of victory. Right here. I have directed my team to fire the Biden political appointee immediately. So first of all, it is kind of funny because he just fired the one person who's actually giving him the evidence to actually get the rates lowered. Because remember, right now the big fight between Trump and Powell is Powell doesn't want to cut rates. And well, really the whole FOMC doesn't want to, but Trump very much wants them. It is a little bit funny that the one person currently in politics who is providing the numbers, the evidence for actual rate cuts, as in these bad numbers, is actually the person he just got rid of. Like that is pretty funny. But beyond that point, which maybe people aren't going to find it as funny as I do, I started to look into this because whether they're rigged or not rigged, it's just how can they be so wrong all of the time. Like all of the time, like these giant revisions, whether upwards or downwards and inside out. So look, Trump seeks bigger overhaul at Labor Statistics Bureau, according to Hassett. Kevin Hassett said the president wants his own people at the agency to provide more transparent and reliable jobs data. So it got to the point where I was like, okay, like what's going on here? Like, why is it so wrong? Whether rigged or not, that's horrible. But even if it's not rigged, why are we so commonly wrong? So I looked into it, and you guys, if you have a free 5 or 10 minutes today, if you want to scream so loud that you start laughing, do you guys even know how they do this? Do you want to know? Okay, like we are talking about the jobs numbers of the most important, the most powerful country in the world. And these numbers are massively important as it relates to monetary policy decisions and really the overall health of the economy. Do you know what they do? You know how they get these numbers? Well, according to AI and my Google searches from over the weekend, they basically just call 60,000 households. That's it. Call them up. Hey, do you have a job? Person on the other end of the line says yes or no. Sometimes they don't respond, so they just guess. It's literally fucking phone calls. Phone calls. In the year 2025, when we're all sitting there wondering, why is this data so bad? In a nation of 350 million people, they roughly call about 60,000. 60,000. They're like, do you have a job? The person says yes, no, I don't know, or they don't pick up the phone. And then from there, they extrapolate that out to the entire nation. Fucking what? Dude, when I first saw that, when I first found my Google search result, I was like, no way is this real. So then I went over to ChatGPT. I was like, I just found out that the Bureau of Labor Statistics apparently costs about 60,000, and that's how we do it. And ChatGPT's like, yeah, sure as fuck, that's what we do. Isn't that insane? Like, literally, they're just, we'll call a couple people, whatever, and then they just go from there. So when you realize that that's the process in which we are collecting this data, it's part of it. Of course, there's other things going on. They do look at like some employment stuff, like payroll records and shit like that as well. But that's like a different part of the survey. But when I realized that, it's like, well, no, fuck, we're always so wrong on this. That's how they do it? Seriously? In this day and age, we're just calling them, hey, do you work? And they're like, nah, maybe. So anyway, these numbers were so incredibly bad that now the odds of this rate cut, remember, we're currently at 4.25%. After the FOMC meeting this last go round at the end of July there, mid-July there was about a 40% chance of a rate cut. And actually going into it, there was a 60% chance. Then Powell spoke and he said, you know what? Things are actually pretty fine. We might not do a rate cut. So then it dropped to 40. But the numbers on Friday were so bad. Now it shot up to 80. And now actually as of today, it was 80 as of Friday. It's 85% now. So once again, we will get a Fed rate cut if one of two things happen. We are sustainably riding inflation below 2%, or if the labor market gets too weak, well, guess what? When you are completely missing on jobs, the labor market's getting real weak. So now the odds of a rate cut are increasing. And in fact, it is now fully priced in at this point that we'll be getting 2 rate cuts by the end of this year. Now, please remember, it's a dynamic situation. These are just the odds of right now. But generally, the larger market is betting on 2 rate cuts this calendar year. And once again, I guess really what's driving that is the horrible revisions of literally what we thought an extra 250,000 jobs just gone. Crazy. Trump to name the new Fed governor jobs data head in coming days. So in all the craziness of this, yes, the Biden appointee who is running the Bureau of Labor Statistics got cut, not having a job anymore. But remember, a Fed governor also stepped down, a voting Fed governor, which means that Trump is actually going to now have the ability to appoint a new voting Fed governor earlier than he anticipated. And this is exactly what he had to say.
We'll be announcing a new statistician sometime over the next 3-4 days. We had no confidence. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, what she announced. But that was just one negative number. All of the numbers seem to be great. We'll see what happens. But we just found out that I have a open spot on the Federal Reserve Board. I'm very happy about that.
Here's the latest. President Donald Trump sharing plans to name new appointees to both the Federal Reserve and the Bureau of Labor Statistics following the resignation of Fed Governor Adriana Kugler and the firing of BLS Commissioner. Joining us now, Bloomberg's Mike Shepard. Mike, what's the reaction in Washington from the flurry of news we got Friday?
Well, in a word, Anne-Marie, you could size it up as dismay. Even from some Republican lawmakers, we heard from Republican Senators Cynthia Lummis and Tom Tillis that they were concerned by this. And Cynthia Lummis even went so far as to say, look, if the president...
Cynthia Lummis is the one who's also a huge supporter of Bitcoin. I would actually say in Congress right now, she's probably the main politician moving like the crypto sphere forward.
The president doesn't like the numbers he's getting on jobs. It's not the statistician's fault. And it comes, Anne-Marie, at this time as we are seeing, or at least beginning to see signs that the president's tariff policies are beginning to have an effect on the economy. We're seeing flickers of inflation in key consumer categories. And then we had the Friday jobs report and the revisions that moved the president to the point that he ousted the head of the BLS, Erica McIntyre, who was appointed by President Joe Biden, but was widely hailed as somebody who was nonpartisan and was committed to the data. And her predecessor, William Beach, who was appointed by Donald Trump during the president's first term, even stepped forward to defend her over the weekend. He said that the move risked undermining BLS and the credibility of the agency and the work it does. And he also said there was no grounds for it. At the same time, though, he said that there were a lot of committed and dedicated civil servants at BLS who will continue to do their jobs and do so free of political influence. So it will be interesting to see how whoever the president decides to put into this job will interact with that part of the bureaucracy.
Well, whoever he picks is now definitely going to start producing numbers that favor whatever Trump wants to go. Like, yeah, that's so obviously going to happen. So, unfortunately, we're in a situation where before this, we really couldn't trust the data. And now after this, we definitely can't trust the data. But once again, I don't know if it was rigged. I don't have evidence to say it was or wasn't rigged. But what I can say is also, if you're like that wrong all of the time, maybe you should lose your job for just not being good at your job. So I'm not going to take it to the point of saying that they're rigged or manipulated. I'm just saying the fact that they're being presented and then later through the first revision and the second revision, if you're that far off at a certain point, like, why do you have your job? Like, just get a better person at that job. So I don't know. I think this is getting spun up over the weekend of how big of a deal it is. And it is a big deal, but I think we're just going from not being able to trust the numbers for one reason to now not being able to trust the numbers for a different reason. I think that's basically how it goes on. So that was some of the hot drama from last week. And also remember where we are, the start of August. Well, at one point, August 1st was the deadline. And now over the weekend, with relation to the trade war and all that good jazz, we have some stuff going down. Swiss face a 72-hour race to lower Trump's absurd 39% tariff, 39. So Switzerland right now, I don't know. I guess I hope you already have your watches and whatnot, because right now we're going to get the news here. Like, this is, once again, this is just like a high pressure negotiation tactic. You have minimal time. So Switzerland trying to figure that out, but they aren't the only ones. Modi of India defined as Trump steps up pressure on Indians' Russian oil purchases, basically saying stop buying it from Russia. Also, you guys might have seen the update video yesterday. Shout out to everyone who watched that. I very much appreciate it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope those are providing quite a bit of value. But anyway, we covered this a little bit yesterday. A whole nother part of drama is the fact that we have two submarines, I guess, in unspecified locations in the water somewhere, like appropriate locations, just in case we have things more so popping off with Russia. And he didn't like what someone from Russia had to say. And then he went out of his way to say that they're nuclear subs. So that whole situation's pretty tense. And obviously it's kind of tied to this. And last but not least, Canadian trade envoy still sees chance to ease Trump's tariff. So basically last week, part of the very important news was we knew August 1st was the deadline. Some people kind of kicked the can down the road. Other people actually got the deals done, blah, blah, blah. This week, that's going to be the main thing most likely driving it, because actually from a macroeconomic standpoint, we don't have really that many things going down this week. We have some PMI, ISM PMI and prices coming out tomorrow. You have the 10-year note auction and the 30-year bond auction Wednesday and Thursday of this week. But as you could tell, relative to last week, this week's actually going to be a pretty quiet one. But please don't forget, we're still in earnings season. I know a lot of you are interested in Palantir. Palantir reports after the market closes today. Tomorrow morning, Pfizer, Caterpillar, BP, AMD, Supermicro, Snapchat, Lucid, Upstart, Rivian. Wednesday, Uber, Shopify, Novo, Nordisk. You're going to have Disney, Walt Disney, McDonald's, DraftKings. So later on this week, there's a couple more. So it's an important week. Not as big in terms of like the huge market cap ones as we saw last week. But this week, definitely some that I assume you guys are going to be interested in. So feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to do whatever you want. But I should also talk a little bit about seasonality, because it's not only a new week, but it's a whole new month. And I do want to point out, over the past 20 years, August is just a choppy, crappy month. A little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up. Clearly not the same seasonality that we see in the month of July. So once again, this is 20 years worth of data, but you're going to notice right here, okay, 5 years on the monthly, August, bullish. But if you look at the past 3 years instead of the 5 year, it's actually bearish. So once again, this is not a strong trending month. Some years it's bullish, some years it's bearish, some years we go absolutely nowhere. And then the net effect, if you just look at the month of August over whatever time frame, you're going to realize it just doesn't do that much. Like it's just not a strong seasonal period. Now, if we look at the weekly, I do want to point out that this week is actually a bullish week over the past 5 years. Same thing over the past 3 years. But then as we get further into August, it actually starts to skew a little bit more bearish. So for those of you who maybe have like swing option positions on, just something I need you to consider. And then if we really want to dive into it, well, first of all, don't forget to sign up, mattkohrs.locals.com. It's in the description of the video. My mom will put it in chat. But this is how you get the free newsletter. It's 100% free. It's always been free, always will be free. I break down what's going on in the market, a little cheat sheet for the earnings, a little cheat sheet for all the major macroeconomic events, but probably most useful is the seasonality. And I just get very granular and I give you the seasonality for each individual trading day. So per day, starting off today, it's bearish. Just if we're looking at Monday, August 4th, this is a bearish day. Same thing with tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are actually a little bit more bullish. So basically, the first part of this week, Monday and Tuesday, bearish, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all bullish. So starting off from just looking at the pure math, like nothing else being really considered, just like the pure math of how these days have performed. We start off in a little bit of a bearish chunk, and then we go a little bit more bullish as we get to the end of the week. So just wanted you guys to all have that. And then now we could get super granular with it, and I could give you the levels for the day. So pretty much this was the session on Friday. We moved for the first 20 minutes, and then from there it was just choppy and like not much really going on. And even though price wasn't that exciting, I do want to show you this. How do I over here? Let me switch this. I do want to point out that large players were selling pretty much all day, which is kind of a concerning trend because they were selling on Friday, they were selling on Thursday, sold a little bit on Wednesday, didn't do much on Tuesday, and we're also selling on Monday. So they sold Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week. These are the big players, and this is the whole universe of the New York Stock Exchange. So they're all equally weighted, not based by market cap. But look at, they're just selling, a little bit of selling, more selling, more selling, more selling. So even though price didn't, we got hit right out of the gate, then a little up, then a little down, then a little up, just not much there. Underneath, we are seeing the big players sell, most likely locking in profits because remember, we're not that far from an all-time high. And then also with respect to what we're seeing in the world of options and option structure, big pivot for pretty much all of June and July. The just larger options market for the S&P 500, looking at many different expiration dates, was like just call dominated. There was a bunch of people long calls, a bunch of people, it was just all calls across the board, a lot of positive gamma. And you could even see from the color right here, okay, all of a sudden we're now getting a little bit more negative gamma. We're seeing, according to the options market on a 0DT basis, the expected move of the day starting to get a little bit larger. We're seeing vol tick up, and we're seeing now people actually getting inputs to the point that the shorter time frame, like the day and the week, is actually now put dominated, which is a big switch. We have not been in a put dominated market for at least 2 months now, maybe a month and a half. But my point is even though if I just show you price here on the daily, like, okay, up, a little bit of a pullback, like nothing too crazy, literally making an all-time high on Thursday, I don't think this is telling the full story here, because all of a sudden when you see that the large guys have been net sellers 4 out of 5 days last week, with the other one being a baby net selling, so basically selling all 5 days last week, we're seeing a big pivot in the options market from call dominated to put dominated, from positive gamma to negative gamma. And we're also at the point where like vol is picking up. My point here is just that things are starting to shift. So as much as maybe the price action was boring, it feels like something is brewing underneath. Definitely something is brewing underneath. So please keep that in mind as we go forward. So I'm honestly, for a week and a half or a month and a half, I was explaining to all you guys of like, hey, here's my bull case, here's my bear case, but I'm only looking for the bull case. All the underlying data supported the bull case, and it was just bullish, day in and day out. I was really just looking for opportunities to be bullish pretty much from mid-June to the end of July. I have now switched that. Now it's getting a little bit more of choppy waters. I could easily see days where we have bullish reactions, bearish reactions the next day. I think we're getting into more of like this choppy water situation. So I kind of just wanted to put that out there, especially as we're getting into a whole new month. What is today's expected move? That is a great question. Today's expected move is about 0.6%, which is better than the 0.3 we were seeing for like pretty much every single day in the month of July. So about a 0.6% move is, according to the options market, what we're looking for today. I wouldn't be so surprised if we start to overshoot that type of stuff and all of a sudden we're outpacing what the at the money straddle is like pricing in for the day. So anyway, with that in mind, yes, we did hit an all-time high, a little bit dramatic between Thursday and Friday. And what I'm looking for is either kind of a consolidation or maybe a little bit more of a pullback. I mean, overall, I would argue we could still come all the way down to 5,900 and the picture would still look pretty freaking good. So I think we're at that point where you might have some profit taking. You might have what's referred to as like a healthy pullback, this, that, the other thing. But really what I'm trying to get across is this easy push that we had for June and July, do not assume that is going to be happening. Do not assume that that's just going to, like, that's how this works, because things have been changing. Under the hood, something is going on. Bringing me to today specifically, where I always mark out the previous trading sessions high, low, and close. The transition zone is this white rectangle, and then the key open interest levels where we see a lot of open interest in terms of the 0DT is these yellow horizontal lines. As of right now, we're expected to open at 6275. 6275 is just below the high where we were on Friday. So we're literally just going right back to our opening session on Friday. If we take out that high, I'm watching 6,300. Then there's an upside gap fill to 6,339. If we fail at any of those, then I'll be looking for support at 6,250. Transition zone all the way down to pretty much the closing value around 6,240. And the below that, we obviously had the low value at 6,212 and a lot of open interest at 6,200. So bull case, bear case. And for me, I know for about 6 weeks, I was always saying, hey, no, I'm just doing the bull case, just doing the bull case, just doing the bull case. Ask anyone in the Discord, I sounded like a broken record. But hey, I just want to make sure this is all on because I think I have this. I just want to let everyone know that things are now going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more two-way, and I'm definitely going to be trying to take advantage of wherever I see momentum in the short term rather than just being blindly bullish the entire time. Well, let's see how Skynet's going today. This should start to trade. I think it should trade about 3 times within the first 15 minutes of the day. So let's see how this plays out. Let's see if Skynet's going to be able to actually make me any money today. I hope I have them all turned on. There's a bunch of strategies right here. We're going to see how this gets going. We're going to see what does Skynet have in store.
Order submitted.
That was awkwardly delayed.
Target filled.
But it seemingly worked. All right. Awkwardly delayed, but somehow seemingly worked out. Wait, that's how we start off on Monday. Nice $90 on all the accounts. I have 20 Apex accounts. I have funding ticks, 3 from funding ticks, and then 5 at take profit. So trading on 28 accounts. Little bit of slippage right there. Some of these made $90. Some of these made 72. Some of these made 75. I suppose it is what it is. I know it says I'm still in a position. I'm not, because you can see that there's no unrealized right there. So we're going to see how that one plays out. So, hey, good way to get going on a good Monday. We're coming out of the gate strong, and I am a fan. I'm a fan. Here, let's go to the 500 tick. Let's see how we can get rocking today. All right, we did this. That's good. All right.
Target filled.
All right. Second trade just went off, and definitely a little bit more slippage on that one. Definitely. All right. So even though I'm trading the same strategies across all these accounts, the best one's up 245.
Order submitted.
What the fuck is that one? And then we're at 145. Whoa. Why is this only trading on 3 accounts?
Target filled.
Does anyone know what the fuck is going on right now? Like, at all? Why are only 3 trading? Mom?
Target filled.
It worked, so I can't complain. But it was only applied to 3 accounts? That just doesn't fucking make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. At all. Well, I'll have to figure out what happened. I know I'm getting confused myself because it says I'm still in a position, but I know I'm not. Once again, above my head, there's no unrealized, even though it's saying there's unrealized right there. So, yeah, it thinks it's in a position, but it is, in fact, not in a position. Something's going on with the data, but I think some trades fired off when other ones did. What the fuck happened there? All right, I'm gonna have to dive into that. I can't complain too much once again because it made money, but I think it's because of this that it's getting confused. Like, it thinks it's still somehow in a position, but it's not, which is a problem. Why does it look it? It's not in a position. What is this one? This is 87. Yeah, there's 87. Look at, even though it says unrealized down 340, there's no unrealized here. So there's some mismatch between it thinks it's in a position and not, but it's clearly not in a position. Anyway, obviously still battling out some of this slippage issue, up 335 at the best account, and then the one with the least gain is up 218 right now. So definitely, well, I kind of wish I was in that position. I'd be up handsomely. I would definitely be up handsomely at this point. Here, let's go to the 1 minute. Let's see what's happening. All right. Well, I can't complain about it too bad. I'm a little bit frustrated because I just don't know why. Like, look at it knows this one's not in a position. It only thinks this one's still in a position. Well, all the other ones know that they've already been closed out. So that's a bit weird. And I honestly have no fucking clue even what that issue would be. Stop the position. I'm literally telling you it's not in a position. I stopped it's not in one. You can see the fact that this is the account right here. Unrealized P&L is nothing. It's not live in a position. It is, I'm 100% sure this is the main one, the accounts tab. If the unrealized is reading 0, it is not in a position. It is not in a position. Can you rough the fees for these accounts? Is a large business expense? If you're running it as a business, you can. Yeah. But then you would also have to be running the, what time is it? Okay, never mind. You'd have to also be running like the revenue and the profits through the business as well. Like you can't just cherry pick. You'd have to do both simultaneously or neither simultaneously. Has Apex changed the daily drawdown rules? My Trade Evade account isn't showing a new max account balance value after locking in the trades. No, obviously not. That would be a huge announcement, dude. Yeah, well, like I said, the position on the screen is not a position I currently have. I wish I had it because I'd be up $2,300 per account right now, which would be amazing. But once again, I do not have this trade on. I wish I did. I wish I did. Refresh the software. Oh yeah, all I would have to do to get this off is disconnect the Apex data and turn it back on, and it would disappear. It would. That's exactly what would happen. All right, what I'm curious about is the market's reaction to 6,300. This is a very, very, very large open interest level, and I want to know how the market is going to be playing. Is it going to go up and explode through, or is it just going to get absolutely smacked? Huge amount of open interest on the 0 DTE, on the weekly, and even on the monthly. There's a lot of traders out there interested in this exact value, about 6 points above. So if you're riding it, be careful about a rejection. Obviously, if you have no position and you're tempted to be bullish, I wouldn't buy there because there's just decent odds that there's some sort of rejection, and then you could keep going. But if it does break out and keep riding, my next target would be the upside gap fill at 6,339, which was the closing value on Thursday, July the 31st. So obviously more of a reach, but please be careful at this first one. For fuck's sake, stop using Apex Copier and use that. Why do you think I'm using Apex Copier? What would that have to do with anything, dude? Mike, quick question. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm literally not using either. I'm using individual strategies right now. Right here is my head blocking it. I've applied the individual strategies to every individual account. I'm not using a copier at all. And I don't know what that would even do to change this problem. Copier, no copier, it wouldn't change this. Like at all. At all. All right. Let's get the flow on the day. Mag 7 is pushing right now. The Mag 7 Delta is beautiful. Even the SPY is pretty strong as well. Here, yeah, both of these are ripping up to roughly that level. All right. I mean, here's going to be the first showdown of the day. The copier doesn't always close positions. The entries goes positions. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm not using the copier. So you're trying to blame the issue on something that I'm literally not using. Mag 7 is ripping. SPY is ripping. No one's really touching puts, but they are. It's being driven by 0 DTE calls right now, not longer dated calls, specifically 0 DTE calls in the S&P 500. And I assume that they're just trying to rip it up. I assume this is a lot of their targets. So be careful. Be careful on that one. Oh, they're closing out puts and they're getting calls for this Friday on the Mag 7. This is a strong push on the Mag 7. A strong push on the Mag 7. Oh, wow. All right. It's basically just it's coming down to this right here. All eyes are on 6,300. 6,300. Wow. Damn, what a push. All right, this is a little bit of a breather here in the Mag 7. Tiny bit of a breather, but maybe. I mean, we just had 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 9:39, 9:40, 9 minutes straight of just Rip City today. Rip City. Strong opening session. I wouldn't be surprised if this just keeps going here. Let's see if that pops. SPY is starting to flatten out. We might have those 0 DTE guys. Yeah, right here. They're starting to take some profits. Once again, first 10 minutes really strong. A little bit of profits being locked in. No one's really touching puts. But right here, see how the green line is the 0 DTE calls on the SPY, ripping. And then, nope, starting to take some profits right now. So it looks like they're almost front running it a little bit. Front running the 6,300. They literally get to 95 and then they said, nah, honey. All right, let's check this out. What else is moving to Palantir? Palantir reports after earnings today, or it reports its earnings after market close today. So if you're playing PLTR, especially in the short term, be careful. And then obviously if you're investing in it, you might want to just check into the earnings and see what the company's been up to. But it is seemingly the equity. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The gift. All right. Lots of emails this morning about Qs are getting another little pump here. Another little pump right here. What is your high open interest in NQ? I don't know what the hell that means. You want to know how many open contracts there are on NQ? I don't know how that would necessarily help you. That I only see people interested in that data when we're in a contract roll situation at the end of the quarter. Is the only time I hear people talking about what is the open interest in futures. Generally, that gets into a useful conversation when you're trying to figure out the percentage of people who've already completed the roll from one contract to the next contract month. But I guess AK, can you clarify what you're asking about? What is your high open interest in NQ? What is your high open interest? I don't get the question. You have a level of 6,300 for SPX. What is the level above that for the NASDAQ? Well, you would probably want to look it up on NDX, not NQ. Because remember, SPX is the index. NDX is the index. ES and NQ are contracts for, on the futures market. So, SPX...
Target filled.
Oh, fuck. Hang on. Okay. I guess it traded again. Did they all trade again? No. What the fuck? They just have stopped trading. But they're on. Why is shit not trading now? Yeah, no trades. But then yet this one did trade. Yeah, one of these traded and the other 27 didn't. And that was an easy trade too. I have no idea. It just didn't trade at all, which I guess is better than taking the opposite trade. But I don't understand because right here, there's no difference. This is the one that traded. There's no difference. The strategy is on. It's enabled. And it literally simply just did not trade. There's no difference right here. There's 87. There's 88. Same strategy. Both are enabled. Literally no difference. One of these traded. The other one did not. No fucking clue. No clue whatsoever. What the fuck, dude? All right, here. How can I try to fix this? Let's disconnect. All right, I'm getting out of all of these. These are all turned off. All right, I've disconnected all the data sources. Reconnect. 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 All right. So that weird live position is now gone. So once again, the unrealized is now properly tracking it. I'm just trying to think of why the fuck that would have. It went south on me. And I'm a little frustrated because I just want to know what happened. But I mean, every account should be up 515 right now. And instead, a lot of these are up only in the 200s, which is, I don't mean to say like only 200. I understand that's a lot of money, but I'm just saying the frustration of they should all be up this much right here, 515. And in like, so basically, if it had been all traded properly, Jesus, what is going on? Why? What could I do to fix this? What could I do to fix this? Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. All right. We're going to see. Do I just want to maybe trade copy it? Just do what the strategy is calling for, but fire it manually? Maybe yes, maybe no. Or do I just want to call it a day and just take this money and move on with my life? That's another option. That's another option. Dude, the SPY and the Qs are pushing right there. All right. It is above 6,300. That was a large push there at 945. How is the options flow? Oh, look at those calls coming right back in. Yeah. All right, so the SPY had some profit taking when we got up to about 6295, and then around 941, 942 just started ripping again. So a little bit of a pullback in the delta, then it like just popped up, and the Mag 7 only went sideways. It didn't even really pull back. It just ripped sideways, ripped again, and that's impressive. Look at that. Holy shit. It's just going. I guess that the next level is up here, 6339. I don't know if we're necessarily out of the woods yet. This could easily just be an overshoot and come back down to 6279. So I wouldn't be chasing here. I guess you had this opportunity at 42, at 942 on that break because your risk would have been the 940 low. So just very minimal risk to ride it up. And obviously at this point it worked out for you. You could set your stop at break even and just, hey, you have a free lotto ticket play. I wouldn't be chasing here above this key level because if all these call buyers right here, this green line, these are all the 0 DTE call buyers. If they decide to lock in, if they think it's starting to look a little bit weak, obviously it's going to bring it down pretty rapidly, kind of like it did right there. So if you want to be bullish, I would argue you should still wait for some sort of pullback rather than chasing it. But that's my opinion on it. Any BITX ideas? I mean, BITX is literally just a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. So it's more of, do you have any Bitcoin ideas? And Bitcoin hasn't really been doing anything. Is the algorithm AI assisted? You could tell it to get right or get smacked. AI assisted? No, it's just running Ninja script. I use some AI to help write the code just because it makes writing code faster. And actually, for those of you who are interested in creating your own trading systems, we have a video coming out at noon o'clock today explaining how with no coding background, you could actually, hang on, I need to get this ready. Is that right? Yes. It's coming out at noon today, and it's a video of me explaining how you can create your own trading systems with AI with no coding background whatsoever. So if you are interested in that, obviously, check it out. It'll be dropping at noon today. Noon today. What do we have going on here? Why the fuck was that broken? Are they? Someone said 10 a.m. rug. Honestly, that's not the craziest call out. They might be setting the old trap here. It's a tough read. I wouldn't. 10 a.m. rug pull coming. It's definitely in the cards today. As strong as this is, I'm not 100% sold on it holding all day. Strategies. Hang on, this is fucking up my chart. Let me clean up one thing real quick here, and then I want to decide how I'm going to play this. All right, cool. We have that all set up. Nice, nice, nice. Nice, nice, nice. I cannot believe that bullshit happened to me. Whatever. Back to the drawing board. At least I feel like every day I'm making like these small improvements. Like when I first really started this with you guys about 2 weeks ago, everything was a disaster. I didn't know why stuff was firing and all these accounts are blowing out. This time, like I feel like I'm drunkenly stumbling in the right direction, at least, you know, where like, okay, like now things are not going according to plan, but they're all still making money. It's just like some things aren't firing, which is better than over firing. So like, is it exactly where I want it to be? Obviously no, but we're getting in the right direction. Palantir is getting clapped right now. All right, well, while we're waiting for the change of the hour, where honestly we might be seeing a little bit of a sell-off here, very quickly, a shout out to Public. So obviously you guys know I love trading options. I'll sell some 0DT premium. I'll go long calls or puts for swing trades, and I all do it on Public because you get a rebate. It's honestly that simple. No other brokerage allows you to earn a rebate for every single options contract you trade. Doesn't matter if it's calls or puts, doesn't matter if you're buying or selling. Every single time you trade an options contract, you will be getting a rebate. It is free to download. It is free to sign up. There are no commission fees. There are no per contract fees. Check it all out. It's pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. I've been partnered up with them for almost like 2 years now, maybe a year and a half, whatever it is. And the reason that this is one of my longest standing partnerships is because of they're awesome. In my humble opinion, this is the brokerage that treats you guys, the clients, like with the utmost respect. And for those of you who remember all the crazy payment for order flow stuff back in 2021, 2022, Public was the first brokerage to say, you know what? We're no longer doing payment for order flow on equities. You can't avoid it in options. So they said, okay, fine. What we'll do is we'll give the traders back the money. So it is a tier system. You can earn more and more rebates the more you trade. If you want to start out at a higher rebate tier, make sure you are using that link pinned to the top of chat. Like I said, it is free for you to download. It is free to sign up. I highly recommend you guys just check it out. I know many of you guys are maybe using other brokerages, but remember, you could always trade on multiple brokerages. And this one, I'm such personally a big fan of it that I don't think it would hurt at all for you guys to at least download it, check it out, see what they're all about, and I think you're going to love it as much as I do. Like I said, pinned to the top of chat in the description. Use that link to start off at the higher rebate tier, and from there they have equities trading, bond trading, crypto trading, obviously options trading, high yield accounts, retirement accounts. It's a one-stop shop for what you need. So check it out, and obviously a shout out to Public. And a little bit of a turnaround here. A little bit of a turnaround. Oh, let me zoom in. Enhance.
Order submitted.
All right, I have a pending order. I'm not in a live position. I'm just kind of waiting. I'm waiting. I have another screen over here that's telling me options are popping off. Yeah, look at that. Mag 7. The SPY. Remember when I told you about that profit taking? Look at right here. Those 0DT calls, another round of people locking in. But even though they locked in there, guess who's buying again? Right there. They are starting to pick back up. People bought those calls, sold them. Bought more calls, sold them, and apparently they are about to buy them again. That is crazy. And no one's really touching puts. The dark blue and the light blue are all puts put together, and then 0 DTE puts is the light blue, and then the orange and the green are calls. The green line are
Order
the
submitted.
0 DTE calls, and the orange is all expirations being put together. What do we have going on? I think I'm in a play. I am in a play, and this time it worked on all of them. Well, riddle me that, Batman. Why in the world?
Order canceled.
All right, we're all across the board today. One's all the way up at 605, and then this one's all the way down at 290. So I don't know, Batman. I don't know. Oh, 29. I mean, that's 100% differential. Trading the same strategies. Well, to be fair, it didn't trade that one. What the fuck? Oh, brother. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. That's going to be a tough one to figure out. That's going to be a tough one to figure out. Oh, it's going to take me hours to figure out whatever the fucking bug is on that. All right. Maybe this might be the first lower high of the day with respect to options. Price went higher, but I'm just looking at this delta flow. If you guys don't know what delta is, it's a measure of the bullishness or bearishness in the options market. So as it goes up, that's more delta. You can add delta by buying calls or by selling puts. Both are bullish. And then your delta can drop by either selling calls or buying puts. Obviously, one is bearish and one is neutral to bearish. So a delta, your delta movement, your delta reading is the measurement of bullishness and or bearishness. So it's just a secondary data source beyond price where you're like, okay, I can see what price is doing, which is this white line. And then you're kind of overlaying what's happening in the world of options as well. So that's the skinny, just for in case we have someone in chat who's just getting their toes a little bit wet in the world of options. And sometimes I think I sling around the terminology when there's once in a while a couple questions here and there. Do you have the link to the hero that you can put it in chat so I can check it out, please? Yeah, it's called Spot Gamma, and I think there's actually an 80% discount in the description. If you all this, like, this is called Spot Gamma. This is Take Profit Trader. Actually, they're running a crazy deal for this week. Public trade, Trading View. Basically, everything I use, like all my tools and whatnot, they're in the description of the video. So just check that out. But this one for the hero tool, you're gonna want to look at Spot Gamma. And like I said, I'm pretty sure there's an 80% discount code in the description. And then the mod just put it in chat as well. Shout out Chaos. Well, we're getting that grind higher. The question is it going to hold? 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 We're about a minute and a half out from the change of the hour, and we're going to see what is going on. We're seeing what in the world is happening. Oh, quick question that doesn't necessarily relate to the markets or anything like that. Has anyone seen the movie, the new Fantastic Four? Or wait, what the fuck's the name of it? Is it called The Fantastic Four? The new Pedro Pascal movie. And if you guys saw it, was it any good? Is it worth it? Should I see it in the movie theaters? How about gamma exposure? Do you look at it? Yeah, that's another great tool. I look at gamma and delta all the time. So there's the gamma map. So negative gamma, positive gamma, negative gamma. So dude, my allergies are popping off. I should probably go back to taking those allergy pills. I just kind of have been refusing to do so. But anyway, yeah, I'll look at the gamma and the gamma influence, and then I'll look at the delta. I'm checking out gamma and delta all the time. And then when we get to important, I guess, like important parts of the option cycle, like the near the end of the week, near the end of the month, or like the monthly expiration, that's when you start to check in on things such as Vanna and Charm, just because as all that time is decaying, you're going to see the Vanna and Charm influences really start to like tick up. It's at 8.5 out of 10. Oh, it was good. Yeah, I like it. It was great. Oh, okay. You guys were. I'm a Marvel Comics fan, and frankly, it's just a good character. Anyone looking forward to it? Oh, dude, Nobody too. That looks great. For the Better Call Saul lawyer. Nobody was a good movie. I'm excited for Nobody too. You hear that Cantor Fitzgerald's purchasing tariff rebates from companies? Yeah. That's what news of like a month ago, maybe. That's not breaking news. But I saw that, how is that allowed? That seems suspect if you ask me. That seems pretty freaking suspect if you ask me. Pretty freaking suspect if you ask me, dude. This is just nonstop climbing. What else is moving today? Coin pop there, Palantir flat. Nvidia had a good move. Tesla's flat. Meta, Avago had a good pump this morning. Avago's looking pretty good. Microsoft making a recovery there. Meta, Apple, ASML, SMCI, Super Micro. They report tomorrow. They're up 3.5%. Netflix is apparently not banished to the shadow realm anymore. CRCL is getting murked. BITX is up. MSTR. Let's check in on those like shitty ass pump and dump plays. Open. Yeah, this is another one that's just. How many times do we have to see this pattern just until like retail traders stop falling for it? Open. First red day, breaks down on lower volume exhaustion, and then just dies. BMNR was a recent one. Wow, color me surprise. Proc. Oh, whoa, whoever saw that coming? Workhorse. Oh, wow, never saw that. PHH. Is that one delisted? No, it's not, but completely dead. Like, how many times do we have to see the exact same pattern? And then people are like, they always like, no, but this time my penny stock's different. Your penny stock isn't different. The one random ass penny stock you found, the odds of it somehow deviating from exactly everything we've seen time and time again, it's just, dude. I'm shorting COM. What is COM? I don't know what it is. It looks like it gapped up on earnings. I generally would not. I mean, the chart looks horrible. I'll give you that. But generally, I mean, it had to beat on earnings. I mean, that's a 77% gap up. I would be diving into specifically what happened. I would want to know more about this story before I just like arbitrarily went against it. Tesla's picking up. Rum picking up. I mean, there's a lot of green today thus far. The question is it going to hold? It did do that perfect retest right here. We had 5 minutes leading up to 9:52. That perfect retest is 6,300. Then we popped. My next target is actually all the way up here. It's the upside gap fill on SPX, the closing value for Thursday, the July the 31st. But I kind of want to know because, okay, yes, we have higher highs, we have higher lows. By definition, that is bullish price action. If your highs are getting higher and your lows are getting higher, clearly the bulls are winning. And then when you put that together with pretty strong options flow, I mean, look at the Mag 7 options flow. Like, yeah, clearly the bulls are strong. But this could easily just keep going and going and going. My concern, there's like my spidey senses are telling me, but Matt, what if this plays out? What if all of a sudden we're just creating a shoulder, head, shoulder? What if like shoulder, head, shoulder? So the fact that this could play out is telling me, hey, maybe be bullish, maybe be bearish, but wait for another test of 6,300 to see if it holds or not. So I'm just not interested in chasing it because right now that's 10 points of risk, which is about roughly $1 in the SPY. So if it keeps going, whatever, I'll miss it. And I don't have a ticket to this particular ride. But just because, actually, what are the big guys doing? Public does more than just options. Oh, it does a ton. It has stocks, options, bonds, crypto, high yield account, retirement account. They have AI, systematic, like creating your own ETFs and stuff. They have a ton going on. But anyway, back to this. I like my spidey senses are popping off a little bit just because last week the big guys kept selling and selling and selling. And actually, they're buying today. This is the first time that they've been buying in a while. The last time they were buying was on 725. But after that, selling, 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 selling. So maybe they're going back to being bulls. Maybe they thought that this dip was enough to be bought. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're stoked that we're going to get Fed cuts soon. And they're, since that's already being priced in. But this could be a little deviation there. But like, the fact that they sold for 5 days in a row, it just tells me that maybe I just need to wait. And then like the fact that even this, they're starting to lock in their profits, folks. Oh, actually, no. They're buying puts now. Starting at 10:02, they started to buy 0 DTE puts. Huh. Okay, that really starts to spike my spidey senses. Why are they buying puts here? I guess they're buying puts here saying they think it's going to come back down to 6,300 at some point. All I'm saying is something's not adding up to me. Do whatever you want. I'm not your mom. It's not my money. Obviously, whatever you decide to do, I hope you make a shitload of money. But the story that they're trying to sell me this morning in the world's largest casino, it's not adding up, brother. It's not adding up. Something, there's fuckery afoot. Matt, have you ever used or considered using a Markov chain for predictive analysis on stocks? It could take some doing, but curious idea. Like, you wouldn't, to my understanding of Markov chains is, it's not like, oh, we just use them. Like, you would have different Markov chains for different situations. So in a certain sense, I already do. For things like Piper, it's going to inherently use some of those Bayesian statistics that you would see in Markov chains of like, hey, if we're in this situation, like what are the odds of A, B, C? So like that's inherently what a Markov chain is. So it's not like I have an AI one that like just builds on itself. But I guess like I use it, but it's in like rather a rudimentary way, more so on the daily chart rather than like in real time on the 1 minute chart collecting. Like I don't have anything that advanced, that fancy. I wish I did, but I don't. But that is, for those of you who don't know what a Markov chain is, it's somewhat of a popular concept in the world of statistics, and it's very popular within Wall Street. Hey, Matt, do you think rum will be profitable this year? Oh, I have no idea. I'm actually myself just waiting for the next earnings to come out. I mean, their revenue is going up and up and up, but profitable, that's just not that's not the stage that company's at right now. They're like clearly in a growth phase. They're still relatively a small company, so they're focused on growth, not profitability at this point. At least that is my interpretation of the most recent earnings calls. They're like, nope, we still are growing. Figma, how did that IPO go? Did they dump it yet? Nope. Well, they're starting to dump it now. This is another classic thing of how IPOs go. Like, if you want to actively trade IPOs, just understand you're gambling. And once again, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you crush it. But more often than not, it does exactly this. Because remember, the big banks, all the fancy people, they're getting in at a price that retail doesn't even have access to. So it opened up at 85. I believe the IPO is priced like in the 50s. So literally as soon as it opened, like the big guys, the institutions, the banks, they were already up a shitload of money. And then FOMO hype drives it higher. Then those big guys start to sell as long as like they don't have to vest or something like that. And then boom, like it just gets rugged. Common pattern in the world of IPOs and debuts, like recent debuts and whatnot. What do we have here? Okay, this is called Bookmap. This is what a lot of day traders and scalp traders like to use. I'll put myself over here. Okay, so they just took out some of this buy-side liquidity. There's more buy-side liquidity all the way down here at 6,200. 6,200, which happens to be kind of an important recent low, is it not? Yeah, right here. It is the 950 low. Is this it? Is gravity about to win? Is this about to get cracked here? All right, let's mark that. Let's mark that. I'm trying to get more useful alerts up here for all of us. What goes up? Oh, look at, yeah. Okay, so starting at 10:01, they started to sell their calls, and then starting at 10:03, they started to buy puts. So calls are being sold right here. That's this delta dropping, and then puts are being purchased. So they are removing positive delta and simultaneously adding negative delta. So whoever earlier today called off the 10 a.m. switcheroo, which we've seen it quite a bit, that was definitely, I guess, the game plan for today. The first half hour, this thing went buck wild. And it did not last that long because right past the change of the hour, selling calls, buying puts, removing positive delta, adding negative delta, and you get the net result of just this puke. Now, the Mag 7 is telling a completely different story. The Mag 7 is nothing but up. I mean, I guess you could argue it's sideways right now, but I mean, very, very different looking than what's been happening in the SPY. Here's a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's also been diving. The NASDAQ's actually been diving since 943. Something's, folks, something's. It's still technically a higher low. Every single low, we have a low at 941, we have a low at 952, we have a low at 1010. All these lows are still getting higher. So you could argue from a price trend, a price momentum, the bulls are still in control on the 0DTE. But why I'm hesitant is just like the delta just literally full tripped it. We went from a delta high to a delta low in like 7 minutes. Literally the highest delta reading to the lowest delta reading of the day. It just puked there. Something's up. I'm really worried the shoulder situation might be playing out. Obviously, 6,300 is going to be important psychological level. It's an important open interest level. So if you're wondering, well, Matt, could it bounce off of that? Yeah, of course it could. But if the buyers do not step in and we crack that, all of a sudden you're talking about maybe back to like really where we opened up on the day. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how this one plays out, which is why I'm not chasing at the moment, because I don't like the fact that the delta puked that hard like that. But then this is really strong. So I guess you could kind of find whatever your bias on the day is. If you already came into today with like a bullish bias, you're going to be focusing on this and be like, but look at how strong the Mag 7 is. And then if you come into the day with a bearish bias, you're going to be like, but look at how weak the S&P 500 is. So really, you could find information to really, I suppose, contort your mind to already agree with yourself. So, but the fact, I mean, speaking as a person right now who has no position right here, I'm sitting flat. As a person who has no position, trying to be an objective voice here, it's both. Like, yes, we can find things that look bullish. We can find things that look bearish. So the fact that both are simultaneously true makes me think, oh, I'll just sit on my hands and do nothing and wait to see if I can find like an easier play. Like, you don't have to have a position on all the time. You don't have to have a position on, which I know is a novel concept for many of us. A novel concept for many of us. But you don't always have to be ripping it. Where was Avago? Avago was holding. Nvidia's looking. So semiconductors are having a great day. So SMH is the ETF that tracks the semiconductor sphere. It's up 1.6%. The reason we're looking pretty good right now is because the world's biggest company, Nvidia, is just getting bigger. It's up 2.2% today. Wow. Semiconductors are crushing it. Absolutely look at that. Holy shit. Just Berkshire. Berkshire reported this morning. They still just have a shitload of cash. They're not doing anything. But other than that, look at all this green. Look at all that green. All right, now we're popping again. Popping again here. That's a little flat. Oh, the SPY delta's picking back up here. Huh. What else do we see going on? The big guys are buying today. Oh. What in the world are we doing? What in the world is going on? Holy shit. Now it's pop. Oh, so yeah, some calls are being purchased, but it's more of these puts are being sold. All those puts that were purchased, the puts. Oh, and now there's more call buying as well. Wow. That was a pretty large pop there. What do we have? The point of control, as in the highest traded, what is this? 250 on NQ. Lot of sitting buy orders at 23,200 right here. A lot of sitting buy orders. Like, oh, and they just got pulled. And they got punted up to about 40. They moved them up about 40 points. It's funny that the second I brought it up, they actually moved it. So it was sitting there for that whole time. And then around whatever, 10:16, they moved it up by about 40 points. So all these sitting buy orders now appear to be higher. They might be a completely different person for all I know, but it is interesting that the second this disappeared, they reappeared right there. So you could see how all this major support, sitting buy orders, has just been moving higher and higher and higher. Are they about to get filled? Well, that's quite a bit of buy side. Yeah, they moved it up to 23,240. Let's see if this gets taken out. That might end up becoming a bit of a big deal. Or are they going to move? They could always move the order. Remember, these are just sitting orders. They're passive orders. They don't have to stay. Like the way we've all had orders up at one point doesn't necessarily mean that, like, just because you put it in there doesn't mean you have to keep it in there. So I'm curious to see how this will or will not move. What do we have going on? What? Yeah, that's a decent amount, though. Decent amount. What's going on with the flow now? All right, so the SPY did pop for a second, quickly gave some of it back. The Mag 7 is just, this is the little engine that could. It just is not stopping. The Mag 7 is just ripping. Absolutely ripping it. And I think this is, if you want an explanation of why the overall market's looking so good, it's semiconductors, man. NVIDIA's looking great. Avago's looking great. Here's Avago, Broadcom, the second biggest one. AMD is up there. Micron, QCOM, Qualcomm. Green is giving some back, but geez, man, it's just Soxel. This is the like it's up 3.7%. The whole sphere, yeah, the whole semiconductor sphere is like having a great day. Well, really, I mean, according to this, just everything gapped up. Amazon's having an abnormally weak day relative to everything else, but look at all that. Healthcare looks a little red. Eli Lilly, they report later this week. Thermo Fisher Scientific, whatever these diagnostic and research. Berkshire, bad earnings. IBM is actually a little red on the day. What is this one? Boeing's a little down. Coca-Cola's a little down, but like you have to really squint to see this red. Paramount Global is down. What is this red one? Waters Corp. What the hell is Waters Corp? Whenever it is, it's down. But other than that, like, you really have to like look hard to find red. On semiconductor, why is that one down 9%? Here's the semiconductors, like NVIDIA, Avago, AMD, Micron. What is this one? Monolithic power supply. MPWR is also having a good day. Yeah, semiconductors are crushing. They're crushing. The Delta flow is not nice on the SPY. Pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, big drop, big pop, big drop. Not making its mind up, while the Mag 7 is just as strong as could be. It's just ripping it. So getting completely conflicting signals, while the Nasdaq is actually getting smoked. I don't know. I might be wrong on this one, but my spidey senses, maybe it's not shoulder, head, shoulder. Maybe it's a double top. Or maybe this is just a continuation of higher highs, higher lows, and we should have been buying all the dips. I don't know. I'll tell you more confidently at 4 p.m., but maybe it's a double top. I don't know. Maybe it'll be able to break through. We're about to find out. I could tell you that the chances of that breakout and follow through were higher when the Delta was just popping. But what was that? So people bought calls and then quickly sold them, and people got out of their puts and then got back into them. They sold their puts and then quickly bought them right back. I don't know. The market's drunk. It doesn't know what it wants to do. Tesla's coming up to its trend line. You might want to watch that. Be careful. SMH. Semiconductors just don't care today. Potential intraday trend line breakdown on Tesla. If you're paying attention to that, I currently have a put position on Tesla. It's up today because of Musk's temporary pay package was approved. I believe the vote was on Friday, or maybe it was over the weekend, but obviously that's been a whole lot of drama and whatnot, so people are stoked about that. Very quickly, reminder, shout out to Public. They are today's stream sponsor. If you don't have an account on Public yet, check it out. Use that link pinned to the top of chat. I think you're really going to like it. It's the only brokerage I know that you get rebates. You get paid rebates for every options contract you trade. So check it out. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. And also, I do want to remind you that the absurd deal that Take Profit Trader is running, it does end this week. 40% off, no activation fee, and you get 100% of your initial test refunds in your first withdrawal. So you're going to get all your money back if you make it to the first withdrawal. As in, you could theoretically play zero for this. So that's a crazy deal. This is the first time I've ever heard of them running it. So it does end this week, just so everyone knows. But once again, 40% off, no activation fee. And on your first withdrawal, you're going to get your initial test cost, which is still 40% off. You're actually going to get that refunded to you on your first withdrawal. So that's actually a crazy deal, but once again, ending this week. What are we doing? We're kind of choppy sideways. I'm wondering if this trend line is going to break down. So Tesla just tested it. If semiconductors are the reason we're up, you might want to be watching the semiconductor ETF to see if it keeps grinding higher. Tesla's on the ropes right now. Maybe it bounces, maybe it breaks. So watching that, especially for the short-term traders here. Where was all this? Okay, so before, when I told you there was a bunch of people trying to buy at 40, those orders are now pulled. They're not there anymore. There's some down at 30, but what is this now? It's at like 2. Right here. So they moved it to 23,200, 10, 11. So they did move it. It was originally it was at 200 flat. Then they moved it to 240, and now it's at 210. 210. There are some, though, here at 30. Okay, and then the most traded volume node of the day is 250 right now. That's this yellow line. And then VWAP is where? Why do I not see VWAP? Where the fuck is VWAP? It's all the way down here at sub 100, 23,100. VWAP is deep, deep down. Deep, deep down. All right. Yeah, we'll see if this buy-side liquidity holds. How is... Well, Tesla might be cracking over here. Watch SMH. Watch the Q's trend line. Golly. Golly, golly, golly.
Order filled.
Looks... What happened? Wait, where's my shit? Oh, it just took that breakdown trade, already locked it in. All right, so a little bit more. 695 is the lead account, all the way down to 378. So today got a little bit weird because this top account traded either 1 or 2 times more than every other account. So, I think they should have all been closer to 500. So really, let's not consider that one. So in terms of how bad was slippage today, let's assume that they should have all been at 500. That's still pretty bad. That's $120 of slippage. Most of them were decent. It was at 450, 450, 450. So like, it's fine, but I don't know. It's still kind of frustrating to me. I need to figure it out a little bit, and I really need to dive into why this one traded more. I have a feeling it had to do with I have been trying to create this indicator that I'm not updating properly, and the indicator is just like, is it in a position, is it not in a position type of a deal. What is VWAP? VWAP, VWAP, the volume weighted average price. It is basically the average price that has been transacted throughout the day. It's thought to be bullish above, bearish below. A lot of people use it in terms of like support and resistance levels. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically like every other indicator we have. But yeah, if you want to learn more about it, once again, it is VWAP, VWAP, volume weighted average price. I was told to buy Joby a few months ago at 5. I'm dead. Well, why did someone tell you to buy it? Oh, this is that like, ew, it's an ugly chart. But we did have these breakouts. This is that like the mini helicopter company, right? Or something like that. It's taken off. Once again, I wouldn't chase it. Chasing it is like the worst thing you could possibly do. Your opportunity to get in was like back here in April, like somewhere in this zone. Chasing it now, not long ago, it's trading below $10. Why would you pay over 20 for it? Electric vertical takeoff and landing. Yeah, I remember some of the pictures. Tesla getting a little crack there at 08. Well, we're still technically... Well, we're consolidating in the Qs. We're still technically seeing higher highs and higher lows. But I guess the message of today's show is that something's going on. My spidey senses are tingling, folks. I believe they complete with Archer. Oh, wait. Am I thinking of Archer then? Like, I have this mental image. I thought it was of Joby. Yeah. These were the ones that I was picturing. Yeah, okay. I don't know much about them in terms of like how strong the core business is. It's not like I have their earnings memorized or anything, but the product looks cool. I don't know how popular they are or aren't, but in terms of stock price, I would not be chasing it. You're paying quite the premium. What do the spidey senses say? The spidey senses are telling me that this is not worthwhile to be chasing right now in the market. Not generally, it's never worth it to chase, but when I like the SPY Delta, something's funky with it. Even the Mag 7 now, it's not diving, but it also has stopped this lift. Like, we basically had a lot of bullishness up until the turn of the hour at 10. And then ever since there, things have been like, look at this flow today. That's a really tough, when you see this, when the options market looks like an EKG, really, really tough to be confident in like, hey, I'm going to ride that trend for the rest of the day. Because even though price looks pretty stable, the underlying is not. I mean, look at it. It's just going absolutely haywire underneath. So I would rather just not be involved in it. If the SPY also looked like the Mag 7, like if we were just popping and a little bit of a consolidation, I'd be like, maybe. I'd be more willing to, especially if I saw this buying continue. Like the big players are buying today for sure. So I guess I'm hesitantly bullish based on the current set of information, but I'm just worried about what happens on this breakdown. Like, are we setting up for an actual trend reversal? I know before, Tesla is getting cracked. I'm watching SMH over here. I know I was calling out the, is this just going to be like a triple top? I know I was calling out shoulder, head, shoulder. Obviously, we are not getting that, but for some reason, we are having a bitch of a time at 6,312. And if this starts to go, man, you might have like a legit breakdown. So I'm just kind of watching this. And if it does break down, obviously the first target is 6,300, which is the low around 952. And then maybe we bounce, maybe we break. If we break, then I'm watching 6,290. And then I'd be watching pretty much the opening value and the high from Friday at 6,280. So it's basically every 10 points. On the snap of this trend line, this is super easy for you guys to remember for the rest of the day, is if we snap this trend line, you're looking at every 10-point increment, 6,300, 6,290, 6,280. So it's just 10 points, 10 points. Like that's 10-point chunk, 10-point chunk. And that's how I would be viewing the situation on the snap of this trend line, especially if Delta's falling. And look at that. Delta is very much falling. Market is unpredictable. In the short term, it is effectively just noise. It is effectively just randomness. But that doesn't mean you can't make money. It just means you have to think about the problem a little bit differently than you normally would. And you kind of just have to, if anything, really just think about it in terms of, okay, 50-50, like you said, unpredictable. But even in a 50-50 game, how can you be net ahead? Well, you could be net ahead in a 50-50 game if you're continually winning more than you're losing. So if you're winning 200 but risking 100 at a 50-50 hit, you're still going to be massively far ahead. Massively far ahead. When in doubt, add +1 top. I cut everything Friday just as a caution rather miss out than lose my gains. That's fair. That's fair. Let's see. So Tesla for the past 10 minutes has not recovered above its trend line. The SPY hasn't touched it, and the Qs kind of did and then bounced right back up. Same thing with SMH right here. And this is really what I'm watching because it does seem to be the semiconductor sphere that is keeping the whole market elevated. So I'm particularly watching this right here. Like, does SMH hold? And do we just bounce? Is this the third touch and bounce? Or is it about to puke through? So this is what I'm watching, followed by this over here. But Tesla losing a little bit. Tesla caught itself at 300, technically 298 on Friday. So if there is a puke in Tesla, that would be the next key level, is somewhere between 298 and 300 flat. That's literally where it bounced on Friday. Hey, Matt, do you use the web browser version of TradingView or the desktop app? I use the web browser right here. I'm on Google Chrome right here. Time to go YOLO on calls. Definitely not the time to do that, in my humble opinion. I mean, obviously, do whatever you want. I'm not your mom, but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. That seems like a very weak play, in my opinion. A very weak play. The Mag 7 is flattening out. The SPY, it's fifth test of the low of the day on Delta. So we're getting lower highs and the same low now in the Delta reading. We might be actually a little just caught up in this positive gamma. Remember, positive gamma and negative gamma, it's not bullish and bearish. It's sticky price action and slippery price action. Positive gamma is sticky price action. It's a black hole for price. while negative gamma is more of like, oh, when you get going, you can really get going in either direction. So we're right now not only at the top of the spot gamma implied 1-day move high right here, pretty much top ticked it, but we're at that awkward transition between negative gamma and positive gamma where historically you would expect things to kind of slow down a little bit. That's a lot of sold calls. There's some long calls all the way up to 6.3, 6.5, but that's a lot of sold calls, i.e. sticky price action. And then below us, you have some puts at, people are basically getting 0 DTE puts at 6,300, 290, 295. So there are active players in the market right now playing this move back down to this key level, basically paying for the test of the 952 low. That's like an active bet right now in the market. Right now in the market, hang on one quick. I want to remind you guys of this. Where's my email? What are my passwords? La-ti-da. Okay. I just want to let everyone know that this deal right here, the 40% off, no activation fee, and 100% of your initial test refunded in your first withdrawal, this ends this week. So Take Profit Trader, Morning Traders, blah, 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 ends this week. This is your final week to take advantage of it on TPT. 40% lifetime discount, no activation fees, and a 100% first month test refund on your first withdrawal. And to take advantage of it, just use that code GOONIE, GOONIE. When you are checking out, make sure to apply it, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get this really cool deal. And unfortunately, if you have a pre-existing account, you are not grandfathered in. It's only accounts purchased within this window that you get all of these deals. So once again, I just want to remind you, it does end this week. It does. And the market doesn't know what it wants to do. Tesla seems like it does want to, in fact, break down. We could check the flow on Tesla. Tesla was bullish up until 10-12, and then boom. So basically, a lot of call buying, a lot of put selling, and then it went inverted. A lot of call selling, a lot of put buying. So just, I guess, what goes up must come down. What else do we have? NVIDIA, pretty freaking strong. Palantir, decently strong. Microsoft, strong, now flat. Apple, strong. Netflix, kind of weak. MSTR, very strong. Meta, decent, slightly strong. Broadcom, decent. AMD, also pretty decent. So actually, Tesla is the weakest looking one, and NVIDIA is probably the strongest looking one with respect to individual options flow. All right, well, while we're waiting for this breakdown or breakout or anything like that, do you guys have any questions? Any questions on spot gamma and reading delta? Any questions on SIM-to-funded trading? Any questions on the Discord? Any questions on like Bookmap and what the hell do all these different colors mean? Any question, I don't know, I guess any questions at all? Any questions on day trading, scalp trading, penny stock trading, options trading, futures trading, crypto trading? Is there something that I say that you're like, dude, I just need you to better explain it? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What's on everyone's mind? Meta is not just decent. It's the best and the strongest, better than NVIDIA. Well, to each their own. To each their own. Drop 2K on 5 calls, 630 SPY, 880 well. I mean, it worked out for you, but that's more luck than it is skill. As of the data you had on Friday, things were looking pretty frosty. Like that, the big guys were definitely selling. Definitely selling. Amazon week, yeah. Amazon. Wait, can you guys hear me? Did I lose you? Oh shit. My computer looks frozen. Hello? Hello? Fuck. Hello? Hello? Everything's frozen. No. Hello? Hello? Oh wait, now I can see you. Everything just bricked on me for a second there. Was that just me or was it bricked for everyone? Man, it's dark in here. All right, now I can see you guys. I don't know what the fuck happened there, but as soon as the data came back, Tesla just got hit again. Anyway, SPY's trying to hold. Q's, we're getting close to a breakdown. SMH is pushing. Tesla did break down. I don't know. My spidey senses are popping off today. My spidey senses are popping off today. They very much are. Oh, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. 4 hour is bearish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. 4 hour is bearish. The SPY delta, look at it's like a ball bouncing, but it's bouncing like it's just getting lower and lower each time. So every time we fight back up, there's less bullish fight every single time. These bounces are just getting lethargic. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful. What do we have here? Okay, we're gonna find out. Tesla's getting rocked. Are we missing any like big breaking news or anything like that? It feels kind of quiet. Matt, do you know what you pay for a bookmap data pack? Matt, do you know what you pay for your bookmap data package? I think mine is like, I just paid it. I want to say I'm paying like $175 a month or something like that. I don't know. I literally was just looking at my credit card bill. I think that's like roughly where it is. I'll look at my bill tonight and I'll ask me again tomorrow and I'll have the exact number for you. Trump stokes conspiracies about jobs data as White House defends firing BLS chief. Stocks bounce after Friday's sell-off. Dow trades 400 points higher. White House struggles to justify firing of BLS chief over weak jobs numbers. Question for all of you. Do you think it was appropriate or inappropriate for Trump to fire the BLS chief? Would you have done the same? Do you think it's moral, immoral, appropriate, inappropriate? Do you not care at all? Would you have fired her? Would you have kept her? Do you think things are getting too political, or do you think it's completely above board? Above board or below board? What are you guys thinking? What are you thinking? Musk awards $29 billion in shares with prior pay package in limbo. $29 billion. I wish I was awarded $29 billion in a pay package. Appropriate. She would have kept inflating the numbers. I only trade on days where you wear your Buffalo shirt. Hell yeah, dude. Then again, fire them all. Just the whole department. Give us no job numbers. Wait, it was a woman? Fired. Jesus. BLS has had a lot of massive corrections lately. If by lately you mean for years and years, yeah. It's almost like a running joke of when we get numbers, who cares? Because let's wait for like the revision months later because it's going to be massively different. Matt, earlier you said the NASDAQ was getting smoked. Why did you say that?
Order
it didn't
submitted.
look like it was. Yeah, it was. Speaking
canceled.
of that just traded again. All right, I locked in more. 785 is the best account. 436 is the worst account. So, hey, making some green today for sure. When I refer to it right here, this is what the data. The NASDAQ it is getting smoked. Look at it. The Dell, I mean, it's just getting fucking pummeled. Calls are getting sold. Puts are getting bought. It's just, that's my definition of getting smoked when the delta reading is going from the top left all the way down to the bottom right. I would define this as getting smoked. Potential trend line breakdown here on the SPY, potential trend line breakdown on the Qs, potential trend line breakdown on the semiconductors, and Tesla is in fact vomiting. My next stop would be 300. Dude, if I got 29 billion, I'd say buy mofos. I think many people would do that. Matt, what is delta? Delta is a reading of the bullishness and or bearishness of the options market. Actually, fun fact about delta is it could be used. So it's a Greek value in the world of options. So you're going to have a delta value, and you could use it various different ways. So first of all, you could look at it as in terms of the statistical likelihood of that strike expiring in the money. So when you have a delta of 0.5, which is going to be at the money, you have a 50% chance, 0.5, 50%. So you could use your delta reading for an individual contract to give you the odds of it expiring in the money. And fun fact, you could double that number, and that's the chance of the strike being tested at some point between then and the expiration of the contract. So that's one way you could use delta. Another way you could use delta is how much it's going to have to be hedged, because once again, it is just that percentage. So when you're looking at the market makers and you're thinking, well, okay, like how much of this do they own right now in the underlying to be protected? Well, that's going to be your ratio of how much. So that's another way you could use delta. And then kind of the way we're using it right now is we're almost looking at the cumulative delta across various expirations, across various strikes as well. And we know that you're adding positive delta to the system when you buy calls or sell puts, and you're that causes the delta to go up, and that's thought to be bullish, because when you're doing that, if you're buying calls, that means someone is bullish. If you're selling puts, that's a neutral to bullish bet. And then if the delta is dropping, that's either from selling calls or buying puts, and that's why it's thought to be bearish. So there's three distinct ways you can use delta. It's all the same delta reading, but your interpretation of it, those are three valid ways to interpret it. And honestly, there's probably more. It's one of the most important Greek values. Of course, you have delta. That's a popular one. Theta is another one you should pay. Well, really, you should pay attention to all of them. But I would say you kind of have to really know what's going on with delta, gamma, theta on any given, like at any given moment. Those are very important to pay attention to. Very important to pay attention to. All right, is this breakdown real or not? So the SPY cracked it, but we didn't take out the 1009 low, and we definitely didn't take out the 952 low. The Qs did take out the 1009 low, but neither have taken out this low at 952. So I'm watching 627.87 on the SPY, and I'm watching 561.59 on the Qs. Important stuff. Important stuff. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. 4 hour on the ES and on the NQ is still bearish with respect to momentum. We got a little bit of a sell-off there. The price seemingly caught itself on the 1 minute 50 EMA, but I'm still, I guess I'm just watching 6,300. In my mind, this is so evidently the level that I think the market as a whole is waiting to pay attention to. So I'm just waiting for this. It's a little bit lower than the 1010 low. It's a little bit higher than the 952 low. It's a key open interest level. It's a key psychological level. There's a lot of people on various time frames playing off 6,300. Massively important. Delta is the most life-threatening calls in EMS, so it must be important. I don't know what a delta call is in EMS, but hey, I'll start saying that to everyone. Why not? Man, Tesla's just getting spanked. Starting at 10:15, someone just started selling. Every 3 minute bar, just red. Like literally, just all gas, no brakes. 10:15 hit. The market's like, cool, let's just sell Tesla. And it sold it aggressively. Did your mother-in-law notice anything else weird besides your hair? Just like generically the fact she's like, dude, I just don't like you. Like right to my face. She's like, you just suck. You're not funny. You're not cool. You don't have aura. You're kind of fat. She calls it how it is. Matt, are you in a trade today? Actively, I am. As of right now, I'm not, but I have traded quite a bit. Some of my accounts are up 785, while others are up 436. This lead account has traded 1 or 2 times more than all the other accounts, and I think I know why, but I need to double check that. 540, 436, 540, 540, 540, 49. Yeah. So really, I mean, I'm happy with it. Each account roughly making about $500, we'll say on average. $500 on 28 accounts, that's $14,000. I'm not going to complain about that. Obviously, it's still kind of Schrodinger's money. It's fake money until it's not. So like, it's not like I have access to this $14,000. So as much as that might sound like impressive to say, it's much more impressive when it's in your bank account and you could actually use the $14,000. I can, at this moment, I can't really use it. So like, it's cool and I'm stoked, but also it doesn't really matter right now. Matt, were you a fat kid, Matt? I'm a fat adult is how most people refer to me. They say, hey, here comes fat Matt, just doing fat person things. Fee, fi, fo, fum, here comes fat Matt. That's kind of like that's actually what my wife says to me. Whenever I like get back into the house, she's like, here's the fatty. What were you doing? Buying some Oreos? Or like she'll just like insert some like generically offensive food suggestion. She's like, oh, were you at Krispy Kreme Donuts? I know you weren't cheating on me. You're probably at fucking Dunkin'. It's a hate-hate relationship. Oh, Matt's not pissy today. He must have gotten a blowjob. Wow. Wow. You think that little of me? You think that little of me? Not enough sun, dude. I got a ton of sun this weekend. Bucket loads of sun this weekend. I was effectively a solar panel all day yesterday. Sup, fatty? Where is it so funny? Sup, fatty? Sup, fat ass? I did 200 flights on the stair stepper yesterday, and around 120 and 130, I was like, uh-oh, my stomach doesn't feel the best. So I was just over halfway. And I was like, well, I'm not going to stop because it doesn't count. So I just kept going. And by the time I was getting close to 200 flights, like when I was at 180, 190, 200, like, folks, I was so close to shitting myself. I was one accidental like loosening of my ab muscles from shitting myself. Like I hit 200 flights and I had to like waddle out of the gym. I was playing with fire for no reason. It was exclusively risk, no reward. I honestly just didn't want to stop. I was like, no, I just finish the workout. Dude, had I accidentally sneezed, I would probably be like permanently banned from the gym. Like, honestly. Like, dude, it was close. Like, dude. Apex hypothetical question. If I make 20,000 net profit on an account, can I request 10 or 15, or do I need to request everything above the original? No, you're actually capped at 2,000 for the first 6 requests, and then from there you can request whatever you want. But I think the minimum is like $500 you have to do. But it's not like you have to request all your money on top. So you're capped at 2,000 on a 50K account for the first 6 requests. And then by the time you get to request number 7, you can request whatever amount you want. Never understood how adults poop themselves. Blew my mind how common it is. Yeah, some of us just really push ourselves at the gym. Some of us are built different, Chris. Some of us carry the logs, brother. Some of us burn the ships. Did you guys ever see that video of like the marathon runner or something? There was some girl who, she was leading the race, literally took the time to poop on the side of the racetrack and then still won the race. It was crazy, man. Like, do you know how dominant of a runner you have to be to take a poop break mid-race and still win? Like, it's crazy, man. Damn, I'm farting tears. Holy shit. You should get that checked out, man. Michael, I'm not a doctor, so please don't take this as medical advice, but you should see someone about that. You should definitely see someone about that. All right. Well, the cues are starting to weaken. The semiconductor sphere, it cracked the trend line, went back up, retested it, and it's maybe potentially getting smoked here. Maybe potentially getting smoked here. Man, where are these buyers? Well, the buyers at 200 are nowhere to be found. They pulled this buy order. Nowhere to be found. Uh-oh. So we have some aggressive selling starting to. Remember, the red circles are people aggressively hitting the bid. There are some buyers at 90, but if that gets chopped, if they snap that neck, we're talking about 150, maybe 175. I don't know, folks. This is getting a little suspect. Things are getting a little froggy. Let's see if it's going to jump. If you're in the lead, you don't have to step in it. Fair point. Tesla's getting, dude, it has not had a green 3-minute bar since 10:15, dude. This is just getting smashed. It's getting smashed, brother. Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. I'm trying to think. Do I want to turn it all off, or do I want to let everything trade one more time? I'm trying to think. Do I turn it all off and keep my gains on the day? We've made some good money, mostly around 500, some 785, some 436, but most are clustered just above 500. The question is, do I just want to call it a day, or do I want to do one more? Going back for one more bite of the apple. Is it going to do me in? Is it going to do me dirty? I mean, it's right at 200 right now. Is it going to do me dirty? Tesla, some buyers coming in at 303 flat. I mean, we're testing this key low here on NQ. The 951 low. To be fair, the overall market is holding up better. It has not yet revisited 6,300. The Mag 7 is fading. It's not a horrific sell-off, but the Delta is fading. The Nasdaq looks like shit. Holy crap. That's just getting murked. S&P 500 made a Delta low at 1045, popped back up, and then is still kind of generically fading downward. SPY is holding. Let's see. I mean, it's not the craziest thing to bounce there. That is just a key low of the day. So maybe there's enough people trying to buy that. But if this bounce doesn't work well and we just put in a lower high and then puke, I'd be looking at the back to 559, the high from Friday, or I'd be looking at SPY to go to just below 628. And in reality, I'd be looking for SPX to touch 6,300. But let's see. Let's see how many buyers step in here. Let's see what the buyers have in store. How strong are the bulls? How strong are the bulls? Are they strong at all? Is the real question. Here's a look. All right, so you have some sellers at 225 and some buyers at 190. And those guys are getting a little bit stronger. What do we have going on here? What do we have going on? We have some sellers at 215. Appear to be taking that one out. All right, we just push that. Yeah, we're kind of bracketed here. Selling at 225, buying at 190. So a 35 point. Some buyers at 200 flat. Remember, the heat map is sitting sell orders above, sitting buy orders below, and then the circles are the aggressive selling and the aggressive buying. When I say aggressive selling, I mean the sellers traversed the spread and they agreed to the trade on the bid. And then aggressive buying is when the buyers traversed the spread and agreed to the trade on the ask. So aggressive buying, aggressive selling, it's basically who did the work, who traversed the spread. So you could see aggressive selling, 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 aggressive buying, aggressive selling, aggressive buying, aggressive selling. We're just ping-ponging back and forth. We had a decent trend right out of the gate, and then that trend is now we're just kind of going sideways. Yeah, we basically popped until 9:45, and since then we haven't done a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, about that.
Order submitted.
All right. Final trade of the day for me. Almost locked it in. Locked it in.
Order canceled.
That's all she wrote. Your boy is donezo. Best account made 870. Worst account made 509. Most are in the high 500s, low 600s. Not a bad day. Not a bad day. 600 roughly per account. I have 28 accounts. You could do the math, but I don't know. It's over 15,000. So that's it for me. That's it for me. I will not be taking any other trades. I am done. Done. Time to make like a tree and leave. Time to make like a baby and head out. Time to make like a prostitute and fuck off. I don't know. I don't know how many sayings I could come up with on that, but you get the point. I'm done. You know, I want to start off the week on a strong note. I did. I made money. It's a beautiful Monday. The session itself is kind of weird. It's not like a nice, beautiful trending session. We're getting some conflicting data. So you know what? When things are a little bit suspect, when you make the money, just say thank you and move on. I don't really feel the need to specifically keep pushing the envelope today. I really, really do not. All right. That's what I have for you. Don't forget, show public a little bit of love, sign up. I think you're really going to like it as a brokerage. And then don't forget, this is the last week for that take profit trader deal. That's also in the description of the video. Basically everything I use, whether it's public or Spock Gamma or Bookmap, or if I use a tool, it's going to be in the description of the video. So check that out. That's what I have for you folks. I appreciate all the good vibes. I hope you're having a phenomenal Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope your trading week in the casino here is starting off on a good foot. And then hopefully we just keep crushing it for the rest of the week. So the plan is this. At some point today, a little later on today, we'll be posting the update video of all the hot news. And then we'll be streaming once again tomorrow morning. But I do want to remind you that we have a specialty video coming out in 58 minutes at noon o'clock today on the other channel. It's going to be on the normal Rumble channel, but it's on the secondary YouTube channel. There's going to be a video coming out where it's a step-by-step walkthrough of how you guys can all get started with using AI to create your own trading strategies. So obviously you guys know I'm a big fan of systematic algorithmic trading. And the most common question I get is, hey man, I don't know how to code, but I want to do this. How can I do it? This is the first video in a series of it's the foundational video of hey, you don't know how to code? This is how you're going to get started creating your own trading systems without needing to know how to code. So once again, it's coming out at noon o'clock today. So if you're on lunch break, or hey, if you're commuting, or I don't know, if you're just looking for something to check out, once again, comes out in about 57 minutes. So that's coming out today. Later on, after the market closes, another video is coming out, and then streaming once again tomorrow morning. That's the plan for today. That's the plan for tomorrow. I hope you guys crush it. Stick to your trading plan, respect your risk, make a bunch of money, and I will catch you guys later. Appreciate all the good vibes. Peace.